One. We're live. Okay, our first speaker is.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 5th Annual African Heritage Month opening celebration. My name is Ramaz Abdullah and I'm a grade 12 student at Dansville Secondary School. I am very happy to be the MC for today's event and thank you very much for joining us today. During the month of February, the Toronto District School Board is proud to recognize and celebrate African Heritage Month. It is an occasion to celebrate the many achievements and contribution of people of African descent to Canada and the world. It is also a time to pause and reflect on the many challenges we have overcome and the victories we still need to win in our pursuit of justice and equality. I wish to invite Robert Dorcher, an instructional leader at the Urban Indigenous Education Center at TDSB, to lead us in a land acknowledgement. He will be followed by Jamia Zuberi, Vice Principal in Virtual School, Elsie Fur, and a co-chair of the African Heritage Month Committee, who will lead us in a.
Thanks, Ramaz. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here as part of this wonderful kickoff and celebration. My name is Robert Durocher. I'm Métis from Ontario and French. I'm going to start us off with the land acknowledgement. I acknowledge that I'm hosted on the lands of the Mississaugas of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and Wendat. I also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. I think about where I am in the city. I live next to the Don River. And this is important because I need to think about my own relationship to the land, air, and water so that it is here for 7 generations to come. Reconciliation also includes reconciliation with the land. Thank you, and I look forward to being part of the celebration.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now I am honored to do an African libation. I have 3 artifacts with me. I hope you can see them well. We have a tree from the earth on the land with which we stand. I decided to choose a conch shell indigenous to the Caribbean region and a gourd that is indigenous to West Africa. Hope you can see it well. Thank you, Robert. And through your vibration of your words and through your indigenous ancestors, we declare our collective continued action to work in partnership as stewards in taking care of this land that we stand on. We also stand in sovereignty with global indigenous peoples. At this time, I would like to call upon our own African ancestors and recognize with humility and gratitude their presence by honoring them with pouring libation. In many African communities, liquid is poured as a symbol to ignite the power in our collective conscious being, to affirm the presence of our African selves. We all stand tall because someone of someone else. We all, everyone on the call. Last year, we continued to explore the Southern African philosophy of Ubuntu. If nothing else during this time, connectivity to each other as humanity is first. This year, we raise our mindset to self-determination. This specific moment is to all the Black children on the call, in the audience listening. This moment is for you to take a breath. Breathe deeply in and out. Put a smile on your face and put your face up to that computer. Let us see those teeth. I pour water and libation to your health, happiness, and education. At this time, I would like to speak to all the children on the call. Again, we want you to put a smile on your face. Take a deep breath. Breathe in and breathe out. I want every child in this call to promise me one thing. In the mornings when you wake up, I want you to look in the mirror and say, I love myself. I want you to touch your body, give yourself a big hug, and say, I love myself. No matter if the color of your skin, today we are uniting. I pour libation. No matter the language you speak, it doesn't matter if it's English, French, Tamil, Hungarian. It doesn't matter. I say, we love ourselves. Again, it doesn't matter if you practice Orisha, Rasta, Muslim, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, or no religion at all. We pour water and say, we love ourselves. Today, folks, it's self-determination. And we say, Ashe, for the love that surrounds us all on the call. I also want to say, lastly, but certainly not least, a special shout out to all the members of the African Heritage Month Committee, as well as the frontline workers of the Toronto District School Board and all the boards. We call it the frontline workers of education. The SNA, ECEs, EAs, OAs, all of our staff, all of our communities, of course, the teachers, admin, senior team, and any title that I've forgotten. I just want to say, we see you, we love you, much love for the work that you do with all of our children in a loving way. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Thank you, Mr. Dutcher and Ms. Zaveri. Next, I'd like to invite the Ngoma Ensemble to present.
This one is Cuckoo.
Perfect. Hi, how's everybody doing? My name is Johannes Parsons. I am the teacher and drum instructor of Ngoma Drum and Dance Ensemble. We are based out of the Driftwood Community Center area. I've been doing it since 1995. I am first generation, and I am now just trying to pass on the information and knowledge that I have to our future children in the city. Djembe has always been very important to me throughout my life. It's helped bridge the gap for me personally, being a young Black male from Toronto. I've been able to have, I guess, a reach with my identity, my ancestral identity, and be able to fuse that with what I know from today. Having a Caribbean heritage, growing up in the hip hop culture, we've been able to find all these different threads in music and connect them all to become one long, relatable situation that's been a big clutch for me in my life. Now, speaking more about this drum, this has traveled many years and many distances, coming all the way from the Malian Empire of West Africa. It's been used with the trees of the earth, stretched to have the skin, usually from a goat, tied down with the ropes in different rings in order to create a djembe. Now, the djembe, once upon a time, used to be like our cell phones, the way we used to talk to each other, the way we used to get messages to each other. It was also like a book, the things that told our history, right? The stories that come from our ancestors and from the things that have been lost to the general population, but through music, we've been able to get a hold of that and be able to be able to get a connection to that. So now, with that being said, hopefully I could be able to play a few things to show how drum has affected my life and share it to you guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ngoma Ensemble. That drumming was inspiring, and thank you, Johannes. That drumming was amazing. The theme for African Heritage Month 2021 is Kuchi Chagoria, which means self-determination. It is one of the Nguzo Zapa principles that are celebrated during Kwanzaa. Kuchi Chagoria means that people of African descent have the right to name ourselves, claim our history, and live our truth. We will share with you some video of our students saying our theme.
Determination. Self-determination. Kujichagulia. 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 Kujichagulia.
Kujichagulia.
Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. I did it.
Did you enjoy that video? It was fun watching the younger students try to pronounce our theme. Cute. Next, I will ask the Chair of Board of Trustees, Alexandra Brown, to bring greetings to us on behalf of the TDSB, who will be followed by the Director of Education, Karen Falconer, and Chris Moyes, Trustee for Ward 10.
Just getting off mute. Thank you so much, Ramaz. So good afternoon, everyone. I am so happy to be here to help launch the virtual opening of African Heritage Month. My name is Alexander Brown, and I'm the chair of the Toronto District School Board and the trustee for Ward 12 in Willowdale. I want to begin by thanking the Planning Committee for once again bringing us together to celebrate the many achievements and contributions of peoples of African descent to Canada and to the world. As you know, the Toronto District School Board is committed to recognizing and embracing the diverse communities that make up our cultural fabric. Through Heritage Months, we provide students and staff with the opportunity to learn about the people and cultures that surround us. This work includes elevating voices, sharing stories, and hosting events, as well as providing our educators with tools and resources to support equitable and inclusive teaching practices in our classrooms. This year, several events have been planned to engage and educate our students and staff, including a Black Students Alliance webinar, the annual Know Your Worth conference, and a joint event with the Jewish Heritage Committee to recognize the contributions of the 761st Tank Battalion of the United States Army, known as the Black Panthers. While we can all be very proud of the events, activities, and learning opportunities that take place during the month of February, it's important that the essence of this work is incorporated into our day-to-day lives. That is why the multi-year strategic plan has a strong focus on Black student excellence, including improving academic outcomes and well-being levels for Black students, professional development for staff with regard to equity, anti-racism, and anti-oppression, and offering more engagement opportunities for Black students and our most vulnerable youth. This work and so much more will be the focus of our new Center of Excellence for Black Student Achievement, which will take a more coordinated, resourceful, and direct approach to supporting Black students, their families, and staff from across our system. I want to take a moment to thank our staff who work tirelessly to support our students, their families, and our school communities. I also want to thank community members who continue to share their voices and help us better understand the realities of Black students and their families so that we can better improve our supports, programs, and learning environments. I know that there's a lot more work to do, but I am truly thankful to everyone who plays a part in creating meaningful change in our classrooms, our communities, and beyond. I hope that we can all enjoy participating in more African heritage activities throughout the month of February and throughout the year. Thank you for inviting me to today's opening ceremony. Stay safe and well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Faulkner. I'm the Interim Director of Education for the Toronto District School Board right now, and I am so happy to be here with you this afternoon. African Heritage Month is a deeply meaningful time for me, and it's particularly meaningful because we are celebrating and we are honoring the theme of Kujichagulia, the right to define ourselves, to name ourselves, to create for, and to speak for ourselves. It's deeply meaningful to me personally. As the child of a Black man and a white woman, it wasn't always easy to refer to my heritage in a context of an environment that didn't honor African heritage in any overt way, and certainly did not recognize the intersectionalities of heritages that we now recognize in our city of Toronto, and most particularly in our Toronto District School Board. It lies, the importance of this month, in importance both at a personal level for Black students, staff, and trustees and community members, but also in its significance to take stock. Because while we come together to celebrate and to learn about African Canadian histories and perspectives, we also come together to reflect on systems of power and privilege. It was no accident that I was brought up at a time of a colonialist interpretation of history that meant the actual denigration of contributions of our peoples from every sides of my family, but also from every sides of the students and the staff who are here before us now in the Toronto District School Board. So yes, let's reflect on the gains we have achieved, because compared to when I was brought up as a child in this country, it is way, way better and way more diverse in content and in influence. However, we have to recognize as well the barriers, the obstacles, the systems that continue to perpetuate discriminatory and racist outcomes. We thank our students and we thank our staff for outlining all of the above, but with a focus on how we and you can make a difference. So this year, we hope through this month to provide an opportunity and an invitation for us to go further, to celebrate our diversity, to acknowledge our contributions and those of other Black Canadians, and to continue to act to ensure that the Toronto District School Board's policies, procedures, and programs support equity and anti-racism and anti-Black racism and anti-Indigenous racism today and for the future. And as we progress into this important work through an anti-oppressive and anti-racist lens, I also want to recognize we are on Indigenous lands. In all of our work, we recognize and honor our roles and responsibilities in relationship with Indigenous peoples. Finally, as Chair Brown did, I want to extend my thanks to the African Heritage Committee for organizing this kickoff event and for their commitment to ensuring that learning about Black histories and current contexts continues for me, for all of you, and for everyone during February, but most importantly, beyond. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome all our students and staff who have joined us today to celebrate a very special time in our city. We stand here on the first day of African Heritage Month, where we bring to the forefront the celebration of Black Canadians and educate on the rich history of the Afro-Canadian experience in our country. This year, we are looking at our African heritage and culture through the lens of Kwanzaa's second principle, Kujichagulia. This word essentially means self-determination, and it is a reminder to everyone of the beauty, the strength, and power of being a Black Canadian. On this day, we remember that every single one of you in the community deserve the right to determine and define yourselves, to create yourselves, to name yourselves, and to speak for yourselves and for your communities. This month is an opportunity to talk about the issues that surround Black Canadians, as well as putting forth the message that the culture we are celebrating and standing up for today needs our support year-round, regardless of the date or time. We have achieved great things at the Toronto District School Board, and we are steadfast in our ongoing commitment to creating an educational system which drives Black student success. Not only our students for the world, not only preparing our students for the world, but also preparing the world for our students. This past summer, our board created a new Center of Excellence for student achievement. This amazing project is dedicated to advocating on behalf of our Black students and to becoming a beacon of change in our school system, eradicating racism and systemic oppression. We also recognize today the work of the many Black student alliances that have been established at the TDSB. We must continue to create Black student alliances that provide resources for our students, working to effect positive change in our school community. The progress achieved by the Black Lives Matter movement has proven to the world that we will no longer stand for racism and violence. And I am so proud of our students who have taken on the responsibility of educating themselves and those around them about the social changes that we need to start seeing. This past year was very tough for many, and I know it hit our students particularly hard. It is so difficult to fathom what you have all been through. And I want to celebrate with you the incredible thing you all accomplished and doing your best to complete the school year and to keep growing and learning. The growth you have experienced this year is immense, but this year the weight was heavier and the future more uncertain. Through it all, you persevered. The pandemic has made obvious the inequity that still exists within our system as lower income neighborhoods continue to fall behind. This past year has left a wake of growing mental health issues for everyone and has been traumatic for all our students whose daily routines have been disrupted. From housing, to feeding, to educating, to providing a quality of living that is promising and engaging. We are committed to you here at the TDSB. This month not only marks the celebration of Black Canadian heritage, but also stands as a call to action for any and all allies. The importance of support from around our city to help advocate for young Black lives is paramount. And it has to stretch further than ourselves and go beyond our own doorsteps. Allyship equals responsibility. It equals solidarity and a willingness to fight for our neighbors. Social media has grown as a critical resource for education and engagement within the community, and we must continue to use this tool for good. Among the chaos and the mess, there are still shining lights. I'd like to take this time to share with you a celebration of the first ever female Black and Southeast Asian Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. She is an inspiration to us all and shows us the power of hard work and positive thinking. That no matter your skin color or household income, you can achieve great things. I promise as we look to the coming year with a new light that things will get better. As we slowly approach the tail end of this pandemic, the world will begin to open up again. And so with it will our hearts and our lives. Freedom means the ability to determine our own lives and to stand on our own 2 feet. Building communities that serve us as Black Canadians, self-determination, Koji Kajolia. Let's take this month to remember that we must always keep working towards a more equitable future together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, Ms. Falconer, and Mr. Moyes for those greetings. I am honored to introduce to you Aita Sadhu. Aita Sadhu is an author, storyteller, community leader, and a co-owner of a different book list, Cultural Center. Today, she will share a story with us.
Thank you and good afternoon. And thank you for that introduction, Rimaz. And I hope I'm not massacring up your name. And I want to say happy February 1st to all the students in the Toronto District School Board, to all the staff in the Toronto District School Board. And I also too want to thank the African Heritage Committee for inviting me this afternoon. And I want to also salute the leadership of the Toronto District School Board that is on the call. And students, I want to say to you that I am so excited about what you have accomplished during COVID. You were the teachers, as we said to you, what's an app? I need to take a nap. And you just deconstructed that, demystified that. We also know that the mouse is not a rodent, but really this mouse is an active thing. So students, over COVID, you have demonstrated that you too are educators, and we rejoiced in the fact that we are students, and this is in the spirit of Kuji Chagulia. Now, in my house, there is a woman, and she's 88 years strong, and her name is Gloria Emmeline Walcott, and she holds the spot in history as being one of the first 25 women to come out of the great nation of Barbados on the domestic program. We stand on the shoulders of those first women coming out of the Caribbean who went on to do exceptional things in this country, like Jean Augustine, who came too on that program and went on to represent us in the House of Parliament. And my mother, she worked at OHIP. She was a trade unionist, and I saw the impact that she had on the lives of working class people. And so one day in COVID, I was walking with my mother, and it is always important, students, to remember education is change, and change is education. And you always have to look at what came before you. So I'm walking with what came before me, my mother, and we are commenting on the beauty. Students, you must always look at the world and see the beauty in the world. Don't just rest on the things that oppressed you, but rather look at things too that will uplift your spirit. And so the birds were singing. As a matter of fact, they were laughing at the fact that human beings had to be inside. And so the air looked cleaner, and the wind, it smelled greater, and the grass was so green. And all the time that we are walking, because you know, old lady walking slow, we going chip, 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 chip. Chip, 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 chip. But we walking in rhythm and in unison, mother and daughter together. And anytime, students, that you can have experiences with your family, I want you to just amplify that experience. And suddenly my mother said, what is this thing called COVID? And I say to her, it is this virus in the world. We can't see it, but it's real powerful. And then she went back into her memory, into history. Students always look to history to see where we come from, because it will inform us of where we are going. And she said a simple thing to me. Well, why don't everybody in the world bathe in lemon juice? Maybe that would help with the Spanish flu. And I marveled at my mother's indigenous language. And because we were walking together in unison, appreciating the beauty of the world in this time of COVID, I felt an incredible sense of freedom. Every single day, students, when you wake up, I want you to feel a spirit of freedom. And if you don't feel that spirit of freedom easily or willingly, I want you to pretend that you are going to fly. I want you to pretend that you are a mighty dancer, because after all, the objective of dance is to show us the ability to fly, and that is freedom. And so I had this freedom, and all of a sudden, because we are in the month of February, and I come from a nation of people who are innovative and creative, storytellers and griots and calypsonians, I heard myself ask this question in history and to tell this story into history. COVID, you define the present. COVID erasing memories of the past. COVID, what is the future? You define for me invisible and apart. So this is my letter to you because you are an enemy. But I'm not afraid of you because I'm in big company. Students always remember you are never alone, but you can go somewhere and find company. So we gon' push back, we gon' fight back, we gon' trace, we're gonna come with the PPE. We gon' push back, we gon' fight back, we gon' trace, we're coming with the PPE. COVID, my mother say bathe with lime juice. COVID, she got that from the Spanish flu. COVID, it looks like indigenous knowledge and old woman medicine coming true. So here we going, everybody in the TDSB, we gonna push back, yeah. We gonna fight back, yeah. We gonna trace, we're coming with the PPE. Oh yeah, yo, we gonna push back, yeah. We gonna fight back, we gonna mask, we're coming with the PPE. COVID, you define the present. COVID, erasing memories of the past. COVID, what is the future? You define for me invisible and apart. So this is my note to you, because we have the ability to write into history, because you are an enemy. But I'm not afraid of you because I'm in big company. Judy, Cat, Julia, here we going down the road now. We gonna push back, we gonna fight back, we gonna mask, we're coming with the PPE. We gonna push back, yeah, Carnival, we gonna fight back, yes, we're coming with the PPE. Students at the Toronto District School Board, where your imaginations, begin to soar even bigger in this year. We thank you for showing and demonstrating that you are mighty educators, and to the Toronto District School Board and to the African Heritage Community, I salute you, because I have seen that we have traveled a very long way. Kwanzaa is not a festival that now we celebrate at the end of December, but the principles of Kwanzaa are now planted in our DNA. Enough respect, Ita Sadu.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sadu. We enjoyed your creative and heartfelt storytelling. I will invite Curtis Ennis, Associate Director for Equity, Wellbeing and School Improvement and the lead for the African Heritage Month Planning Committee, to make a few remarks.
Thank you so much, Ramez. Isn't this exciting, students? I hope you are enjoying this wonderful evening or the afternoon with us. Ita Sadu giving us this great story time. It brings back so much memory. We were all dancing to that. Thank you, Ita. Self-determination. Wow, what a theme. As we celebrate African Heritage Month of the theme Kuji Chakalia, as interim director of the board, I am so proud that I was a graduate of Western Collegiate. Anybody from Western Collegiate on the line? Big up to Western Collegiate. Although I spent most of my formative years in Jamaica, I am proud to say that I too graduated from the former York Board of Education, now part of the TDSB. I want to thank the organizers and the committee members for their excellence, for their diligence, and for their hard work in putting this month's celebration together. We know that at the TDSB, our commitment to anti-Black racism and creating better outcomes for students who represent the African diaspora is a year-long journey and commitment, not just about the month of February. As we like to say in the Black community, they gave us the shortest month of the year. But we ain't mad, because we know that we have and are committed to Black achievement and excellence throughout the entire year. At the TDSB, we have taken the bold step to put our commitment on paper. And we know that the words on paper sometimes mean absolutely nothing without action. That's why Dr. Martin Luther King, in his fight towards justice, said to the leadership of America, be true to what you said on paper, because he recognized that there was a big difference between what was put on paper and what was actually happening to the lives of Black people. Students of the African diaspora, we care about you. And as Jamia said, we love you. We are committed to your success. We are hard at work to make school a better experience with positive outcomes for you. So what have we put on paper here in TDSB? We have put on paper that we are going to integrate professional learning about anti-racism and anti-Black racism into our school improvement processes for all of our schools and all our school leadership. We have put on paper that we're going to improve the academic outcomes and the well-being outcomes for students of African descent by increasing our graduation rates for Black students. We have put on paper that we're going to reduce the overrepresentation of Black students in special education. And we have put on paper that we're going to improve the overall experience of our youngest Black students in literacy and numeracy. This is what we have committed ourselves to. And so we have it documented so you can hold us accountable. We are here to let you know that we believe in your dreams, that we walk alongside you in your aspirations, and that we are the support system behind your determination to carve a path for yourself, your family, and indeed for future generations. I want to assure you, as Interim Associate Director, that you came from greatness, from the very foundation of our ancestors. Greatness is in our DNA, and we challenge you and support you to be great. That greatness has propelled us as a group of people forward for a very long time, in spite of the anti-Black racism that we have faced. That greatness has been reinforced by our family and by the village of support that surrounds us. Unfortunately and sadly, schools have often been a place of great resistance to the goals, aspirations, and dreams of Black students. Volumes can be written about us overcoming the negative predictions made about us by school leaders we trust. I cannot tell you the amount of times I have heard from great Black accomplishments that guidance counselors tried to steer them down the wrong path. But thankfully, their families and their self-determination brought them to where they are today. Untold harm has been done to Black students, steering us to be chickens when we were created to be eagles. In your self-determination, I say to you, Black students, as we kick off the celebration of Black History Month and African Heritage Month, that you need to soar high, and determine your altitude for yourself. I know that you can't do it alone, and so we will walk with you. We are creating a space for you to define yourself, to name yourself, to create for yourself, and to speak for yourself. There is nothing more powerful than a determined mind and a determined people who have come together in one mind to change the world and to change outcomes for each other. We are in a particular moment in history when we are demanding that our lives must be recognized and valued. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter is a common refrain that we hear, and we must continue to matter every minute, every hour, every day, and every year. We demand nothing less, and our humanity demands that as well. So as we focus and shine a light on the contributions of how people of African descent has made this world a better place, let us continue to rise. Let us continue to demand change. Let us never forget, though, that as we continue to rise, that we must continue to lift as we rise. Let's continue to challenge disparities wherever they exist until we have achieved parity. I am committing to you, we are committing to you, on behalf of the leadership of this board, that we will not stop until we have dismantled every barrier that stops you from determining for yourself your path, your destination, and your future. Kuji Chagalia.
Thank you, Mr. Ennis. Members of the African Heritage Month Planning Committee and the co-chair of the Jewish Heritage Month Planning Committee will speak about 3 of exciting initiatives for this month. These people are Jamia Zuberi, Andrea Cross, and Sherry Schwartz-Maltz.
Hi, everyone. Sherry, right now, we're going to talk about the Black Student Alliances, and then you're later in the program. Give me a thumbs up, Michelle. All right. Thank you, Ramaz. So may I ask Jim to, thank you. Give us a second to unmute. Anton, Emmanuel. Last year, in 2020, Michelle Davis, the co-chair of the African Heritage Month Committee, brought the idea of having Black Student Alliance Awards. Much like the GSAs that existed, we created the BSAs. Supported by the African Heritage Month Committee, the work was to keep fostering spaces for all Black students, and by extension, all students in the TDSB. I say continued because this work was being done prior to us being known as the Toronto District School Board. The committee, which is comprised of over 30 members, which includes staff, senior leaders, students, parents and caregivers, trustees, and partners. All together, we set off to do the work to center student voice. Let us now hear from Denise Stewart, the Vice Principal of Forest Hill Middle School.
Thank you, Jamia. I start with a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He says, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. It is out of love that Black student alliances are being organized. Love of self, love of Black students. Anti-Black racism is deeply entrenched in Canadian society and institutions, and by extension, our schools. This reality is traumatic for Black students. The trauma is rooted in white supremacy and resulting white privilege. If we are to address Black student success, then the trauma that students experience must be addressed. It is with this understanding of the context that Black students' alliances are formed, as one of the many ways of striking a blow at anti-Black racism. I turn it over now to Andre Harriott, who is a teacher at Downsview Secondary School. He's also a teacher with the Black Student Leadership Youth Participatory Action Research Project, which is offered in partnership with the Equity, Anti-Racist, and Anti-Oppression Department at York University on Saturdays. Andre?
Thank you, Denise. Black Student Alliances must be spaces where all Black students can be authentic. Spaces where they do not have to engage in respectability politics to have their experiences validated. Black students already face enormous pressure to perform whiteness so that they can be seen as respectable and deserving of humane treatment. But they should not have to exhaust themselves with this kind of work. They should not have to compromise their authenticity in order to be accepted and seen as valuable. Black students are already valuable and must be accepted unconditionally. They don't have to do anything extra or be anything other than themselves. I'd now like to pass it on to Emmanuel Peter, who is a virtual school vice principal for Learning Center 2.
Thank you, Andre. We cannot ignore the fact that at some point in our lives, and in particular, our journey through school, we may need to talk to someone other than our parents and caregivers. Often the best people to facilitate this type of support are our friends. We all know that schools were not designed to cultivate and nurture Indigenous and Black student success. The purpose of BSAs is to create safe and supportive spaces for all our Black students. I want you to envision this space as a welcoming place, a space where all our students will feel less threatened and overwhelmed by what is happening around us. Parker Palmer once said, "To teach is to create a space in which the community of truth is practiced." Black Student Alliance's supporter spaces are spaces that will not only invite, but amplify your voices and will honor your stories. I would now like to introduce Anton Skerritt, principal of Birchmount Park Collegiate Institute and facilitator of his school's Black Student Alliance.
Thank you, Emmanuel. So far, we've described dealing with anti-Black racism, bringing our authentic selves into a supportive space, and amplifying the volume of student voice. What next? Do we just cut our students loose? Of course not. It takes a village to raise a child, as the old African proverb says. We must create a leadership incubator for our Black youth. We must allow our students to develop their leadership skills like the old Polaroid film developed before our eyes when exposed to the light of day. Our students are not always encouraged to take on leadership, not selected for one reason or another. If they don't see themselves in a leadership role, they may not believe that they have the capacity to lead. Our proposed BSA model culminates in our students leading each other and taking these transferable leadership skills to their classrooms, to the school, and to the wider community. We believe that BSAs are an essential co-curricular activity, and we would like to advocate for strong BSA groups at every school in the Toronto District School Board.
Please join us on February 10th at 5 p.m. where we will host a more interactive Zoom call on how to start or continue a virtual or in-school BSA. We invite participants to share best practices and challenges in this process. We value both elementary and secondary staff to join in building our capacity to listen better to our students. The Zoom link will be sent through the system. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so very much, Ramaz, and thank you to everyone for joining us today. As one of the co-chairs of the Know Your Worth Conference Subcommittee, I would like to take a moment to speak on our many wonderful initiatives. First, please save the date for our virtual Know Your Worth Black Youth Empowerment Conference on Saturday, February the 27th, 2021. At the conference, secondary school students will have an opportunity to attend workshops that will empower, enlighten, and uplift. Second, the subcommittee has been instrumental in the creation of the TDSB's inaugural Know Your Worth Scholarship that will be awarded to 3 graduating students of African descent. Monetary support for the scholarship can be made online at tdsb.schoolscashonline.com. Please note that all online donations are tax deductible. Third, please save the date for our inaugural virtual Know Your Worth Conference for Educators on Saturday, May the 29th, 2021. At the conference, TDSB staff members will have an opportunity to attend workshops that will cultivate, educate, and illuminate. I would like to close by highlighting the immeasurable work of our Know Your Worth Conference Subcommittee staff leads. A special thank you to our invaluable Know Your Worth Black Youth Empowerment Conference staff leads, Lena Hall and Corinne Marshall, as well as to our amazing Black Law Students Association representative, Summer Lewis. A special thank you to our incomparable Know Your Worth Scholarship staff lead, Paula McLaughlin. A special thank you to Kurt Amani Lewin for being my invaluable subcommittee co-chair and Know Your Worth Conference for Educators co-lead. I would like to end with a special thank you to the indispensable Randy Samuel, who plays a pivotal role in all 3 branches of the subcommittee. Thank you all. Job well done, team. Ashe.
I will invite Sherry to speak about the Stronger Than Hate event.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Sherry Schwartz-Maltz. I'm the Manager of Media and Issues Management for the board and the Chair of the Jewish Heritage Committee of the TDSB. So I don't know how many of you were at the talk that I was involved with 2 years ago at the TDSB as we were approaching the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II, but I interviewed someone by the name of, now I'm forgetting, Max Eisen, who wrote a book about his experiences, who's a concentration camp survivor. And Max was liberated, and I didn't know his story, but he was liberated by the 761st Battalion of the US Army under the Allies, under General Patton. And this was an all African-American unit, the first ever all African-American unit tank battalion that fought in the Second World War. And he developed a 30-year friendship with the commander of the unit, and a long time friends. And I was fascinated by the 761st Battalion, never heard of them before. And as we began to investigate, I believe, and Michelle believes, and Jamea, that this is a part of history that we all need to know about. These men were heroes in the Second World War. They not only liberated Max from his concentration camp, but they went further east than any other unit of the US Army, and they liberated several concentration camps. They are heroes. Their story is important. And so I ask you to join us. This is a co-production, a co-presentation between the Jewish Heritage Committee and the African Heritage Committee. I believe it's the first time that 2 of our committees have worked so closely together, so it's an honor. And I hope you will join us on February 25th from 1 to 2 p.m. as we present the story of the 761st. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ramaz, for agreeing to be our host today. It was a pleasure working with you, and you did an incredible job. Thank you to Robert for the land acknowledgement, and to my sister and friend Jamia for the libation. We appreciate you both grounding our work in the land and with our ancestors. To Johannes from the Ngoma Ensemble, thank you for drumming for us and reminding us of the importance of sound, music, and movement to our communities and to our healing. Thank you to our community stalwart, Aita Sadu. Your creative energy and gift are just what we needed today. Thank you to Trustee Brown, Director Faulkner, and Trustee Moyes for your greetings. Thank you also to Curtis for your remarks and your unwavering support of the committee. Much gratitude to Denise, Andre, Anton, Emmanuel, Andrea, and Sherry for your work on the Black Student Alliances, Know Your Worth, and the Stronger Than Hate initiatives. We appreciate your time and energy and for holding space for students, staff, parents, and families. Thank you to each and every member of our committee for your contributions in planning and implementing activities for February and beyond. Your collective wisdom carries this work forward. And thank you to everyone who made time to watch the event with us today. We hope you learned something and that your spirit was uplifted. I wish for you a great day and an amazing African Heritage Month. Stay well.